This New World Order, all I can tell you now is it's very, very serious. I know there are signs that this New World Order is crashing and that it's probably not going to go as forward as it supposedly isn't. You know, a lot of people have been saying this New World Order is collapsing on its plans, you know, to a road to a New World Order. But I'll say this anyway because, you know, there's no proof to say this New World Order won't go ahead. And all I can tell you now is this New World Order, it'll be a global fascist dictatorship, a global government, but a fascist dictatorship basis of the world government, what it will be. Now that's not like what you would believe as fascism towards Arabic people, fascism towards, you know, Muslims, fascism towards Christians, etc. This would be fascist to everyone, a fascist dictatorship, no matter who you are. Left wing, right wing, whatever, you know, it doesn't matter who you are, your beliefs, you'll be all victims the same. All they're using at the moment via media and propaganda, saying that the Muslim religion is wholly responsible for terrorism, etc., saying that they teach to kill non-believers, etc. These are all division tactics being used to basically make the right wing hate Muslims more or see a target to hate on. And for people who aren't right-wing, general people, even left-wing, to fear Muslims as believing that they're terrorists and extremists who are going to attack them, etc. Just because of a few, you know, Muslim extremists which have caused these attacks. But all I'm telling you now is what they're using via propaganda techniques, learned from Mein Kampf, Hitler's Mein Kampf, is they're using division tactics, divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer. A combination of political, military and economic strategies that aim to gain and maintain power by breaking up larger concentrations of power into chunks that individually have less power than the one implementing the strategy. In order to rule securely, don't allow alliances of your enemies. DIVIDENDCONQUER.
That's basically to make you fight amongst each other over different things, race, religion, sexual preference, gender, financial state, i.e. rich, poor, etc. But you're all pawns and we're all pawns being played against each other. And then these suspected with good reason false flag operations, attacks, inside jobs from 9/11 up to Manchester, which I suspect from my research. As to say, you know, to basically, like I said on the other video, as the big problem, reaction, solution paradigm. Problem 9/11, Madrid 7/7, etc. up to Manchester. Then we had this World War III. Like I said, they would justify one world government. You know, I'm just trying to leave this out there to say, you know, that it's not going to be so sweet anyway or peaceful as it's made out to be, this one world government. Like I said, it will be a fascist dictatorship against everyone, no matter what wing you are, left wing, right wing, Arabic, Indian, Asian, Chinese, you know, English, European, Eastern Europe, America. It's going to be a global thing, and every single one of you, no matter who you are, will be victims and basically slaves in this fascist dictatorship. It'll be very tight rules, certain regulations, etc. If you think of George Orwell's 1984, where basically Oceania is based in Britain, and it's a fascist dictatorship where there's a big brother.
The biological and social stimulation of the family leads to private reflection outside party needs.
Your thought criminal.
Unorthodox loyalties which can only lead to thought crime. There is truth, and there is untruth. for.
Clasp your hands behind your heads.
Surrounded.
Courage, strength, and youth are sacrificed. Who are they?
There are thought criminals who maintain that resistance is not real. Believe me, Winston, it's very real. A brother from the age of the Thought Police.
30 to 40 group, take your places, please.
Double plus good, this. Trinard, I didn't think there was a single piece of meat in this, dear.
You knew this would happen, Winston. The individual is only a cell, Winston.
And people lose their rights to freedom of speech first of all. They lose most of their rights as human beings. That's basically it, because there's a lot of things from George Orwell's 1984 that are tied to what the global New World Order would be about, and that's the best example if you've seen that film. You know, freedom of speech is lost. You're not allowed to speak freely about most things. There's a cap on it. If you do, then you're punished or you're imprisoned, etc. You know, that's basically what will be a part of this New World Order. I mean, microchipping human beings to keep track on them. You see these microchips people are having injected into their skin as students in schools. Some states in America have started doing it.
More now of our special coverage here tonight, life in the U.S. in 10 years' time. By that time, there may be all kinds of new ways to safeguard and identify all those things that make each of us unique, our faces, even our fingerprints, even our eyes. Here now with more on the future of technology, NBC's Tom Costello.
The year is 2017. You're rushed to a hospital unconscious with no ID or medical history, but thanks to a microchip under your skin, it's all there. Science fiction 20 years ago, but a biometric reality today.
The technology is based on answering one simple question. Am I who I say I am?
Already, fingerprints and iris scans verify passenger identities at airports. Within 10 years, that technology may be even more widespread. And look for more complex facial recognition programs that scan a crowd of thousands looking for a single terrorist. Today's facial recognition software starts with the eyes. Then it maps out the contours of the face and compares that against a database of millions, a database that's growing by the day. What's next? At the University of Bath in England, researchers predict big changes for consumers.
I think it is possible to free us completely of our wallets and keys using biometric technology, if that's what people want in 10 years' time.
In fact, it's already here. The latest home security locks use fingerprints to control deadbolts. And at the Jewel Osco grocery store in Chicago, some customers pay using their fingerprints. No paper or plastic.
You don't really need anything other than your hand, and you already got that with you.
Forces are moving in to secure key areas along the
In response to UN presence in Minneapolis.
Last night I dreamt about how things were.
Of every enemy of the state!
And then I woke up here.
You know, it's part of the New World Order, in my opinion, and it's basically to keep track of people. And then obviously, like I said, being under surveillance in your homes 24/7. That'll be part of the New World Order as well. Listening to everything you say and do so you don't break the rules of this fascist dictatorship. People obviously working, but you wouldn't be able to complain or protest about if you were given minimum wage or, you know, stupid low amounts of wage. You know, it sounds unbelievable from people who haven't done the research on this. It sounds like it's something out of a movie, like it's over exaggeration, but these things are tied to my research on the New World Order and the kind of things they'll be doing. Depopulation, as I said, basically in their eyes, like culling animals, culling down the population of the global population because there's too many people in the world. So they'd basically kill them off. These FEMA camps, like I said, this news reporter, on a mainstream channel was saying he was trying to debunk the FEMA camps' existence, where basically the death camps in America, but he turned around and said he can't.
We don't even understand freedom anymore. We are a country that is headed towards socialism, totalitarianism, beyond your wildest imagination. I have to tell you, I'm doing a story tonight that I wanted to debunk these FEMA camps. I'm tired of hearing. You know about them? Sure. I'm tired of hearing it. I wanted to debunk them. Well, we've now for several days done research on them. I can't debunk them.
I don't know anything about them.
It is our government. If you trust our government, it's fine. If you have any kind of fear that we might be headed towards a totalitarian state, look out, buckle up. There's something going on in our country that is ain't good.
And they find a little red dot or a little blue dot on their mailbox, and they wonder what the little red dot and blue dot is. Well, it's marking your mailbox by the government, so when foreign troops come in here on us after martial law, but if you have a blue dot, they take you to the FEMA camps being built by Halliburton right now to house 50 million Americans. They're building enough concentration camps in America by Halliburton. So I'm going to tell all of you, if you have not bought ammunition, if you have not bought guns, go get them now. Go get them now, because you won't be able to get them much longer.
They actually exist, and these are tied to around the era of the martial law in America, what was going on or close to. But it's not to say it still won't go ahead if they bring in this World War III and they bring in this road to the New World Order after this World War III. Like I said, problem, reaction, solution, all these terrorist attacks, even though they were false flag up to World War III, like I said, that would be their big solution, but it's based off deception. Sounds very evil, and like I said, it's a very, very highly grounded Big Brother Orwellian state, or Orwellian-based run world, where every country will be under that rule. And like I said, even if it sounds unbelievable, it's up to you to do your research, but this is basically what the New World Order will be. And it's up to you as the public who aren't awake, because people like me already are awake, but up to you as the public who aren't awake to basically research this yourself, or look on pages with credible information and research it yourself if there's not much information to it to back it up. but I've shown that the mainstream news isn't trustworthy. I've shown videos to show it's more likely 9/11 and 7/7 were inside jobs, meaning the rest of them most likely were. I've shown lots of things to back this up, and so many other people have as well, David Icke, etc. So, you know, I'm just trying to wake up everyone, and I'm just hoping that you will wake up in time. And even just like conspiracy pages like Agency of Truth and Justice, David Icke, anyone with credible information to them, we know the secret of the Fed, and a few other pages because they're clickbait, you know, like pages like mine. And just keep it as a tab on your social media to see information shared from my page, David Icke, etc. Give it a quick read. It's not going to hurt liking those pages as well. Just having a little bit of information on the other side of the mainstream news, just so you get a gist of what's going on and the corruption that's unfolding across this world. You know, the good signs of basically a police state in America more than Britain is Dakota Access Pipeline, if you remember that, DAPL in America. It wasn't really covered by the mainstream media, but alternative media. And if you saw how the police were treating those peaceful protesters at Dakota Pipeline, they were using no violence whatsoever. They were firing rubber bullets at them. They were spraying them with CS spray, water cannons. They had armoured vehicles. They were armed with actual bullet machine chambered assault rifles, etc.
You need to get off the pickup and you need to go south. You're going to get sprayed with pepper.
Military police gear, etc. And then you can see the signs more over stateside to how they'd actually treat people for no matter what it was when this New World Order comes. Like I said, to me their drills and practice no different to Ferguson Police Department and the protesters there.
Hands up, don't shoot! Hands up, don't shoot! Hands up, don't shoot! Hands up, don't shoot! You will be arrested. Disperse now, or you will be arrested.
How to use crowd control on peaceful protesters, or even protesters if they decide to rebel or protest against this New World Order. You know, so they know how crowds respond and how they act, and they're basically drills to basically use as covert drills to see how they can use crowd control if they have to under this New World Order fascist dictatorship. It'll be the same as they'll do it in Britain anywhere, like I said, when this New World Order comes along. And like I said, people will be living under basically martial law in a way. you know, like a martial law. There'll be militarised police everywhere. Like I said, the One World Army thing. Militarised police, i.e. like the military police, armed with firearms, etc. This would be a global thing, where all those bankers would have full control over in the end. You know, if you look at Dakota Access Pipeline footage and the way they were treating those people who were peacefully protesting, it looked kind of scary that they were firing rubber bullets at them, and they're using armoured vehicles and police in military gear just against peaceful protesters, basically protesting against the pipeline on our Native American Indian ground. So, you know, these are signs of this New World Order, you know, basically, as I said, to me, possibly covert drills just to see how they can use crowd control against people if they decide to stand up against what they see as the New World Order. You got to take this into account and very seriously. And like I said, they'll be doing this to everyone, and it's up to you whether you believe me or not. But wouldn't it be best to take it into the account that it's very possible that this New World Order is coming ahead, especially when I've put information and backup to my information to say there's a plan for a New World Order, etc. And with 9/11 autonomy of a Great Deception 7/7, that there's an evil side to that you don't know. Isn't it worth taking into account that the kind of things I've been saying that this global fascist dictatorship will be about will be what I've been talking about? And it's very evil and, well, you know, full control of the human race under a global fascist dictatorship where freedom of speech is taken, and you're punished or imprisoned or worse for basically, if you ever used freedom of speech. Most likely tied to these smart TVs, etc. Basically surveillance in your home, connected to the people like GCHQ and NSA, etc. And it'll be a global grid system where it'll be a main global government like a Big Brother like 1984. Listen to everything people say, where they're too scared to make a move or what to say just in case they're punished for it, like it shows in Big Brother 1984 of George Orwell's film. But as a global thing, as I said, to me it sounds very, very odd and very evil. And like I said, I don't want to live under this New World Order, under a fascist dictatorship, and I doubt you do too. So it's up to you to basically have a revolution, to protest in the streets, to do whatever you can online as everyone, to basically make sure they're aware that you're aware what their plans are, and we can try and put a stop to this New World Order as the global public of the world. As I said, it's not us versus the state or the police state, or us versus these elite globalist internationalists. It's them versus us, and they don't give a damn about any of you yourselves, no matter how much money you've got, unless you're as rich as them. Is it, and are you a multi-billionaire or have trillions or multi-billions? It doesn't matter if you're a famous pop star to a police officer to a soldier. As I said, they use you and they see you no different to how they see the people at the bottom who live in poverty, and they'll see you as their enemy as much. They just use you as soldiers and police officers, anyone else, to be their tools to control people and to intimidate people. And as I said, when this New World Order comes along, you as soldiers and police officers will find out the real side to how much they give a damn about you. And it's up to you, as I said, everyone across the world, to basically wake up and see what's going on. We could have revolutions, millions of people taking to the streets, a revolution being social media, people making posts saying that we're aware of this New World Order, etc. So I hope you take it.
It was never meant that we would have this gigantic police force from the federal government. I mean, we had martial law up there, FBI and all these agents coming in and closing things down, going to people's houses. Do we close down cities because there's 10 murders over the weekend in Chicago? We don't do that. But here we close down a whole city, not even allowed to go to a baseball game. I mean, I think it's very, very scary when I look at some of those pictures.
The military likes to perform war games, so that's why we're seeing military on the streets practicing. They are actually practicing. The tanks that we see on the streets and the National Guard patrolling neighborhoods and the practices that they're doing with our local police department, this is all in preparation for martial law, so that when they do actually lock down the country, they've got everything secured.
But I think what we're starting to see, for anybody who is objective at all, is we're seeing a totalitarian system now unveil itself. And ever since essentially 9/11 happened, it's been more and more of these draconian measures that are leading us right down the road to martial law.
Particularly to hear President Obama claim the power to keep people in prison indefinitely with no charges against them, no conviction, no sentence, just imprisonment. It's particularly stunning to hear him make that claim in the middle of a speech that was all about the rule of law.
No matter what your purpose is, you must leave. If you do not disperse, you may be arrested and or subject to other police action. The use of riot control agents and or less lethal munitions, which could cause risk of injury to those who
Wall of police now moving in.
They order all those assembled to immediately disperse. You must leave the immediate vicinity.
Urban military training exercises are becoming an increasingly common sight in many U.S. cities. The Department of Homeland Security has spent the past year acquiring more than 1 billion rounds of high-performance ammunition. Do these developments suggest concerns over a potential terrorist attack? Are they preparations for widespread social upheaval? Is there perhaps something even more sinister underway? As an insider at the Department of Homeland Security who described urban warfare training as, quote, desensitizing exercises all across the US, adding that, quote, we're being prepared for mass civil unrest in major US cities. DoD will be expected to help when we're requested.